Welcome to the fourth episode of Point of View Uncensored. Again, my name is Dr. Renaissance. I'm an educator as well as a activist.
I'm happy to be back. My name's Jake Glazier, Dr. Jake. I'm a professor, psychologist, and therapist part-time.
How you doing, everybody? I'm DJ or DJ the Great, historian, philanthropist, and a bit of an activist. And thank you for having me again, Dr. Renaissance.
No problem. So today we have a special guest with us today. He goes by the name of Desmond Marrow. He was a former NFL player and also a victim of police brutality. And I'll let him speak and give his introduction on more about who he is and what he does now. So, how you doing today, Desmond?
Fine. I appreciate you having me on here. Like you said earlier, it was a blessing. The way I met you, the way we came across, just a real genuine dude. So I appreciate you having me. I'm a former NFL player, played for the Texans, played for the Buccaneers, and then I was a victim of police brutality. And since then, now I do speaking engagements. I train kids. I have a Little League football team. I'm a founder of a crypto coin called FamCoin. I do a lot of things. I'm in the community. I'm giving back to people. And, just kind of trying to get away from the whole police brutality victim thing, trying to turn it into, I'm a victor and this is what happened after that. So that's what I'm doing now.
Good and perfect. Let's go into that real quick because I know a lot of people may not be familiar with your case. So if you want to give us a brief synopsis of what happened with that particular case with you being stopped by the police and how did that all come about?
It was just a situation like a road rage incident, I guess you can call it. And with racism involved to an extent. So like I was telling you guys earlier, I was just driving up the street, going to get a haircut, simple day. Two Caucasian guys harassing me, threatening me up and down the street. And it gets to one point, they throw a cup of coffee at me through my car. So, somebody hits you with a hot cup of coffee, you're going to be like, you obviously would be mad or you would have some type of emotion. But it was just so overwhelming. What happened to me, I was just kind of like in shock, and by that time when I was in shock and everything was like, did that just happen? They pulled off. So I was following them to get their license plate at least. So that could help me at least if I was going to the police. But as I was getting, approached by the police, I guess before that they had called 911 to flip the story and said that I was chasing them because I was just an angry black man with a bunch of guns and things like that. So that's what set the tone of the encounter initially with the police. And then I don't know if many people have seen the video, but in the video, they choked me, they slammed me, they knocked my tooth out. One of my tooth is still out on this side. You gotta slam or hit somebody really hard to knock off these side teeth, like this just smooth come out your mouth. So that happened. And then on top of that, I had 5 felonies and 3 misdemeanors, all from this cop saying I was spitting on them, kicking them, headbutting them, resisting arrest, obstructing justice. And honestly, it's like without that video, it would have just been my word against his. And then if you've seen the follow-up video from the dash cam, this is kind of like what they do. Because he's in the back of the car laughing with his partner. He's like, I believe he says something along the lines. He says, hell yeah, I choked that motherfucker. But I ain't writing that shit down. So it's like, to hear them say that, it's like, wow, without this other video, like my life could have been real different with 5 felonies. I'm black. I got 35 tattoos. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been hard for me to get a job and survive out here. But I got a strong faith and I believe in God, and that's the way I was raised. So that's why I believe like everything ended up working out in my favor. And I say that because the cop ended up getting charged. Then he got felonies. Then he went to jail. Now he can never be a cop or any type of security or law enforcement ever again. Like, it took a while for it to change in my favor, but like, for once the justice system, it worked. So
that's a blessing that you were able to get through all of that. Like, more power to you. So this happened in Henry County, Georgia, correct?
Correct.
So with the two guys that threw coffee on you, like how were they able to they just came up to your car and just threw coffee for no reason? Like there were nothing that caused them to do that?
Like I always tell people, when I first got here, my place still said Ohio. So, I don't know why they chose to, like pick me out. But what they were saying to me as we're going up the street, they're like, take your black ASS back to Ohio, go back up north, like all this like crazy stuff you will see in a movie. Like it was just like weird. And I'm like a real calm person, you know what I'm saying? I don't really lash out until it's like time for me to react or something. Like I always keep my mind stronger than my emotions. That's something I try to do. So it was like, I was looking at them like, man, these two young white kids, like, they don't even know, like, I'm not even racist or nothing. Like, I train all type of kids. Like, I love kids. Like, they're like teenagers. So from my perspective, it was like, y'all not about to get no reaction out of me. So maybe that angered them more and made them more frustrated. And we went to like 2-3 lights down the road. And, they got in front of me. They were brake checking me. You can see all this on the cameras going down the highway. But yeah, and then we got up to the light, and I just had my window down with my music up, trying to ignore it, and they were on my side, and then just came out of nowhere.
So this happened at a gas station that they threw coffee on you. Like where was all this happening at?
It's on Jonesboro Road, in Henry County. It's like a main like road out there. We weren't at a gas station, but they had just came from a Dunkin' Donuts that's right on that same road, like right before the Speedway. I think it's by like exit 221 or 222, something like that, Jonesboro Road. But there's a big Target center out there and a Walmart, a bunch of stuff going on over there. So,
hi Desmond, how are you doing?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being here. I'm curious. Your take or your thoughts on why do you think that those police officers felt like it was okay to treat you that way?
Speaking specifically to Officer Rose, like knowing the ins and outs of the case and like his track record and like things he's been reprimanded for, suspended for, it's like I was just another black dude that he didn't like that day. Like this is like what he does. Like he would write stuff, write wrong reports, falsify statements. All of these things led to his demise. Like he finally got caught on camera. That's all it was. So I was no different that day. He just got caught on camera. So.
Do you live in that area?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you just riding through?
No, well, that day I lived in that area for sure. But now,
Okay.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that do you feel that black people calling the police is actually a good thing? A train of thought that went through my mind was, are there any regrets that you have? Is there anything that you could have done differently? And that led me to the question, is it beneficial to actually call the police? Because personally, when I think of certain situations, I kind of de-escalate myself from calling the police, thinking that it could not go in my favor. So do you think that is beneficial for black people to typically call the police?
Well, in this specific situation, I actually never called the police. They called the police. I never actually, like, where I'm from, like, I'm from the hood, bro. Like, we don't think to call the police. You know what I'm saying? That's not something we think, like, call the police. You know what I'm saying? Like, for a lot of reasons, stupid stuff. Snitches get stitches. Like, the way we just grow up, we mentally trained and we products of our environment. So I didn't even call the police. The situation made me just black out so much, and I was following them to like get their license plate, like just or anything to get up on them, anything. I was just like blacked out, like following them. So I'm trying to like get up on them, and I'm following them in this Target parking lot. And literally before I looked up, I just noticed like once I kind of like snap out of it, Because you know, like sometimes something can make you just react and you kind of like zoned out. So I'm driving, I'm just looking, I'm like, dang, it's like so many people just like flagging me down, trying to get me to stop, trying to get me to like come to. And it's like that helped. And then once I got out the car, it was just like police coming from everywhere. It was like a movie. But to answer your question, like I don't think it's good for Black people to call the police because, especially we're like in a Black community. Like let's take Chicago for instance. Chicago, that's a real dangerous place. You got these Black people, you got these GDs, BDs, Vice Lords, all these gangs with these Black people, and then you take these Caucasian or whatever non-Black men or women that aren't in those communities, and you want them to police those communities. They don't even live there. They there for those hours and then they go back to the suburbs. They know nothing about what's going on. And then you can't, like this is what I tell people all the time, you can't ignore the human factor. Like, yes, they're a police officer, but you're forgetting that you want them to come on a scene where there's a shootout. It's crazy stuff going on. Yeah, they gonna go there because they're a police officer, but in the back of their mind, I bet you some of those cops, they just like, they scared. And in some of those instances where you got encounters with Black people, and you can't deny that some of those white men or white officers, they're probably scared, bro, because they're human. Like they really actually could be scared. So I don't think it's good for us to call the police.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, how has it changed your life? Like, changed your life as far as like mentally? How's your mental since that situation has happened?
People ask me that all the time, and it's like, if you real about that question, you can't even answer it like, I'm good, I'm okay, because you don't really know. You don't really know until like you like test it for real. It's kind of like to bring it to football, it's like if I tear my ACL and I tell everything in my knee, and you guys are my coach, I could tell you like, yeah, I'm ready, coach. Like, I'm ready. Like, put me in. But I really don't know I'm ready until I get on the field. Because I can go through practice and think I'm ready too. But even then, I'm not ready until I go one-on-one against a receiver on a different team and I test my knee out. So certain situations will let me know, like, mentally, I'm not there yet, or mentally, I'm better. Because, like, it's tough. Like, people think, like, oh, you won this case, you did that. But I had like 3,000 followers before that happened. Now I got 40, 50,000 followers. I get 3 million views on videos or hundreds of thousands of views on videos. And then you get like ex-cops, they got these groups and stuff. They DM me, they attack me, they harass me. The police in Henry County harass my family. They would follow us, like, you know what I'm saying? They would do crazy stuff to us, like, that I can't really speak on, but it's like, it's deeper than what you see for sure. And then it's like, mentally, I could be having a good day, right? But then I log on Instagram and my first 35 messages are, you dumbass nigga, you did it for the money, you're worthless. It's like, I'm mentally tough, right? I understand that that's not who I am. That's not who they're talking about. But in the beginning, it was so hard to go through all that. Like, everybody's just attacking you via social media. Like, it's definitely mentally draining.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Desmond. You touched on a topic that we have brushed up against but haven't really delved into, and that is, what over the last year has been called maybe defunding the police. That might not be a good way to talk about it, but police reform, let's say. And so, I'm curious, your take in terms of, you have these competing interests. I see on social media sometimes that comes across, say, Blue Lives Matter, right? But that takes away from the origin of the movement, Black Lives Matter, and the notion of this kind of historical systemic racism that is built into our society. And so I didn't know your thoughts on this issue of police reform and how we can reform the police to better serve us.
I think for the police to better serve us, we could go back to my point that I was making earlier. Like, you need to be more involved and more in tune with the environments that you're policing. You know, you can't keep hiring these people from the suburbs and you throwing them in the inner city. You can say what you want. When they put on that badge, when they put on that shirt, that they heart still pump what it pump. Like whatever's in you is what it's gonna pump in a time of danger, conflict, or fight or flight situations. So if they're scared or they're nervous or they're desensitized or they're scared from what they see on TV, because now what you deal with, you got these cops, they watch TV, they have Instagram, they have YouTubes, but they're human. You want them to go to work after they just seen all these black people hate white men. Do you think it's easy for these white men to do their job now? Like, I look at things from both sides because you have to be unbiased to the situation. Like, you have to respect that those white men or white women or anybody that's not black, some of them are probably scared because of what they see on TV, because they feel like black people hate them or don't want to be around them, or they're going to shoot them or kill them at a traffic stop. So once you inflict fear into any situation, in any given situation, a man is defined to how he responds to that situation. But if you add fear to it, you're going to get different results, because fear is very real when someone is scared of a situation. So I just feel like, to your point or to your question, defunding the police and better policing, it should initially start with coming together and everybody at least trying or attempting to understand each other. If we can understand each other and it's not like, oh, that's just this white dude, he's a cop, fuck 12, fuck this, fuck that. Like, get off of that too. Like, for black people, you can't just be fuck the police, fuck 12. You can't be like that either. You know what I'm saying? Because what if a situation comes when you need the police to save your grandma because this knucklehead just robbed her or stole her purse? You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes hand in hand. But I feel like if everybody would just humble themselves and understand, like, bro, you know different than me. You know better than me. Like, we all in this together, bro. Like, whatever happened, we all gonna die. Like, literally, that's the only thing you promise when you're born, that you gonna die. You're not promised a good job. You're not promised to go to college. You're not promised to get married. Every person is gonna die. So it's like, do the best with your time on earth, bro, and be good to people, like, for real. That's what I would say to that. Just be good to people, and it would be better policing out here.
You said earlier that you were charged with 5 felonies,
Yeah.
and those are still standing, or has that status changed any?
I got all my charges dropped.
Oh,
That's why I was saying that earlier, that like it worked in my favor. I got all mine dropped, and then the cop ended up getting charged, and he went to jail, and I was, it flipped. That's why like my name on Instagram. It's like I beat the odds. Like, what are the odds of a black man getting 5 felonies? A cop saying he kicked him, spit him, all this stuff, and then like a cop gets the charges. It gets flipped. Like, it just don't happen like that.
You allowed to tell a story too, so that's definitely the biggest blessing of it all.
And I say this all the time, like, coming from the hood, you really taught to not use your emotions, and it really messes us up as black men. Like, because it's like, if you show emotions or anything or express yourself coming up, it's deemed as a weakness. But it's like, I've learned going through this, like, I really need to heal and like recognize things. And that's one of the biggest things, like survivor's remorse. Because, and this might sound crazy, and it's like, I don't want nobody to think like, well, I'm gonna just say it and then I explain it. So it's like, sometimes you wish you died, right? I say that because it's like, so the people that die, right? They don't have to deal with replaying it, you know what I'm saying, the trauma, the media, the CNN interviews, the ABC, all that stuff, the ESPN, all that stuff I had to do, like the video over and over. The people back home making videos of you crying, talking about you can't breathe, like, you know what I'm saying? The driving, you on a date with a girl and you start peeing on yourself, but she don't know why, but you can't really like find the words to tell her, like, man, it's a cop behind me and this shit got me nervous, like, and it's like, it's fucked up, but like, I can't even tell you. So I'm gonna just let you judge me, like, and tell everybody that I peed on myself. You know what I'm saying? But like mentally, it just like it'll fuck you up though. Like, damn, my son, 9 years old, he don't even do that. But I can't control it because it's like something that happens to me when I see police. But it don't happen all the time, which makes it worse because I'm always anticipating even more. Like, dang, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? So sometimes you wish, like, dang, what if I would have died? Like, I wouldn't have to deal with none of that extra stuff. So yeah, survivor's remorse, it's real for real. Because it's like certain conditions that I carry now that I wish I didn't, but it just make me understand that I'm stronger than I think. So
I do have one more question. I was thinking of talking about this earlier. A lot of people come from like the perspective that if you do everything right, that does decrease your chance of incidences like that. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I get pulled over, let me just completely relax, chill out, do everything that they say. Let me go along to get along, or let me be as compliant as possible, and this type of thing wouldn't happen to me. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that there's any truth to that, or this is an example of that being the opposite?
I really don't think it's any truth to that because like people get this idea in their head that just because someone has a job or a title that they're supposed to work that way or do it that way. And it's like, you can't do that without respecting the fact that it's the human factor in it, right? And I'm saying that because on that day, that cop, well, not even that day, a week before that, and I'm telling y'all like just extra details within like the paperwork. He had just finalized his divorce with his wife, right? And lost his kid and all this stuff. So add that on the top of the fact that he don't even like black men. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it don't matter if I did nothing right, bro. It was just my day and it was me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why it's like, that's just what it is. That's why I don't cry about it. I don't complain. It's like I was just chose that day, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was God, whether it was him, anything I went through that situation, I was chosen for it. So it was like, to answer your question, like, nah, that don't matter because it's like, bro, I was driving an avalanche truck. You know, that's a big 4-door truck with the bed and everything. They stripped my whole car looking for guns for an hour. I'm telling them like, I don't have no gun on me. So I'm saying that to say like, he was so adamant about finding a gun. Like if I could get y'all the video from my lawyer, it's like he was coming back like, where is it? I know you got it. Like all those things, it's like, nah, if somebody got it out for you, they just got it out for you, bro. So that's my answer.
I had a question about the original perpetrators. The original perpetrators that threw the coffee on you. Did anything happen to them? Did they get any repercussions for their actions?
Nothing happened to them because, once again, me being me from the inner city, I would have had to go to court and testify them and all that. I was like, man, I don't want to do that. They some young kids. Like they made a mistake. I don't want to mess their life up because they would have got drugged through all of that. Just think, former NFL player, all this attention, they would have been all on CNN. All that stuff would have went with them. And it was like, I could be the bigger person and take the higher road and just be like, look, they made a mistake. They young, like, just leave them out of it. So I just was like, nah, I ain't testifying against them. I don't want to go to court. I don't want nothing to happen to them. They're just some young kids to me. Yeah.
So they were kids that did that?
I mean, to me, they kids, one of them was 18 and one of them was like 20. I'm 33. They kids to me. They young.
But they called the police, right?
You said what?
Weren't they the same ones that called the police?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the same ones. But
Oh wow.
but like if you want to press charges or somebody, you got to go through with it. You got to do all that other stuff. And it was like, bro, and honestly, like sometimes you catch a break in a situation because the other person just got so much they dealing with. Like I was under attack, bro, by so much. It was like I just didn't want to deal with that too. Honestly, I was mentally just broken as a person. I just had to find myself. I had a lot to do besides deal with them for real, bro.
It would have been too much on your part. I understand that.
Yeah, so they kind of got a blessing with it.
Desmond, you mentioned earlier looking at communities, how they can police themselves or have officers that are kind of interwoven into that community as maybe a better means of policing. We talked in a previous episode about the debate on critical race theory in the schools. What is your take on two things, on police cameras, which I know really saved you in this case, and then also implementing better racial sensitivity training for police officers?
That what you said last is like the biggest key, because and this is what I learned, like there's so many like cultural like breaks between people, or like, you know what I'm saying, like gaps between us sometimes, that we don't even understand like certain mannerisms or demeanors to be what they are. And what I mean by that is like sometimes if you big and black, because there's levels to it. There's black men that are light skinned, right? And this is just real talk. Sometimes a light skinned man, he's not deemed dangerous. Like some people just, he don't look dangerous. White people will accept them more. That's just what it is, right? Then you take this dark man like me, like I'm real dark, and it's like, all right, you look dangerous. Then it's like, whoa, you got neck tattoos, you got tattoos everywhere. That makes you look more dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it has to be, you got to start with stuff like that, like how we judge each other for real, because it's like, if you're just coming up on this scene and you're this little 5'5" white woman from the suburbs, and you just pull up on me, you're probably nervous to some extent. And I get it. I really do get it. Like, it's probably intimidating. You're 5'4", I'm 6'3", I'm tatted everywhere, muscles, whatever. But that don't mean that I'm guilty for what you just came on this scene for. That doesn't mean nothing. That doesn't mean anything on the way to this call. You should think nothing. Just because a person is calling frantically, oh, there's a black man chasing me with guns, that doesn't mean clutch your AK tighter when you get out the car. It shouldn't mean any of that. It should mean like, all right, this is a black man. Let me assess the situation. Let me judge him, you know what I'm saying, from my own understanding. But like to that point, like, and answer your question, is like, if it would start there, like with the training, like, you know, you just go through certain situations and you have to break it down to its core. Like, all right, this is a white person, this is a black person, like, and just keep it real with the people that are in training. Like, what would you do if you came to this call, but it was in the suburbs? What would you do if you were at this call, but it was in this inner city? Like, it has to start there. You can't just throw somebody who qualifies from the suburbs into the inner city. And here you go, J1, welcome to the force. So
Are body cameras part of the solution too, do you think?
no, because they can turn them off. Like, in my situation, he turned off his body cam. So I got my video from bystanders and the dash cam in the back of his car that he forgot to turn off. So he just forgot to turn it off. Or maybe it was like a adrenaline or something that was going, he forgot, but he turned off his body cam. He just forgot to turn off the dash cam. So, I mean, and then it's like, the thing with the justice system is, let's say you two have a video, you two right here, you got a video of a cop, he's raping this girl, right? But he turns off his body cam. If he turns off his body cam, you have no proof that it happened, even though you know for sure it happened, right? And then all they do is give him like a slap on the wrist, like, okay, well, you're obstructing justice. But it's like, no, the girl was raped and we had it on proof, but he turned it off. But since he turned it off, like, nothing's gonna happen. And that's the part where, like, the community and the police, that's the disconnect, because they can literally do that and stand behind their what is it called? What's it called when you're their immunity? So they can stand behind their immunity in situations. And it's like, no, bro, you just turned off that camera. You just beat that black man to death. Like, but since you turned it off, like, we just gonna rush past that. So it's like, no.
Just a thought that came to mind. If I remember correctly, I think it kind of goes hand in hand with like education and with police officers. Like, the the change of roles in community. In the past, the teacher for this school was from this area and picked that job to better that community. The police officer was from this neighborhood and joined the police force to protect that area. And rather than like defunding the police, maybe incentivize those jobs to people, and not just incentivize it, but also put a certain level of pride behind those jobs. Because I know if you put police job paying 70K, which I doubt they make, in Vine City, none of those people in that neighborhood are going to sign up for that, because it's not a popular job to have in those type of communities. But I think that that's probably the best solution, that from within you need to provide the types of opportunities for what you need in those communities.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Desmond. I'm sorry.
No, I said I think he just made a good point.
Yeah, I think they kind of do that with teaching. Like when you if you teach at a Title I school, which is like majority African American kids, they'll give you like a $3,000 stipend on top of your salary. So you're probably thinking of things like that. Like if you are police in this area, but then you have to tie it around people that live in that area too. Like if you live in this area and you want to work in this area, here's an incentive on top of it. So I think they'll draw people to want to do it. So I think incentives are always ways to get people to do things that typically they wouldn't want to do. So I'm glad you brought that up. My next question before we're gonna segue into a different topic. So have you currently been through therapy after this? Like are you attending therapy sessions, or what are you doing to I guess to help your mental issue?
Yeah, I do therapy. I got like pastors, like ministers and people that talk to me like that. I don't necessarily have like a certified therapist that I talk to, because I did have one, but it's like crazy. It's supposed to be like confidential. Like that's what my understanding. But like the whole Henry County and police thing, like they literally had